This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Welcome to the Halloween countdown. And yeah, everybody does one of these, but I felt like I never did one, so I figure I'd do one. And there are enough games out there when I was thinking about it that I actually wanted to put together a pretty cool list of what I think are the best Halloween games on Halloween. Yeah, there we go. Now, I got a couple honorable mentions. We'll talk about those a little later. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to start our countdown. We're going to make it pretty quick because you got to get all those kiddies ready and get all dressed up to go, trick-or-treating tonight. So, without further ado, let's begin with number 10. Number 10 is Folklore, the Affliction. Werewolves, vampires, and all the other fun things that you are dealing with as you're going across the countryside. The reason this is so low on the list at number 10, but I felt it was strong enough to make the list, is some sporadic content that's come out for it. One of the main people that work there is gone. Julie's gone, so you're not getting the feel for this. This was something that they could have done a Folklore 2. They could have done a lot of really great things with this and really built up and made this kind of like a Shadows of Brimstone in the way of content that they could have done, because there was just so many possibilities. And it just kind of, I don't know if the game fell flat. I never thought so. I thought the game was fantastic. But I think it kind of just lost its luster when it just got forgotten about. And Greenbrier Games makes some really great games. I mean, some ones that I actually think, Heavy Steam and Yashima, I think it's called, Way of the Dragon or something like that. Just really, really great games. I've never really played anything too bad from them, and it's kind of a shame to see this kind of fall to the wayside. At number 9 is an all-time classic, and you can either get the little box edition or you can get the mega box edition, which has everything and all the expansions, and that's Zombies. A very simplistic, fun, but very hard game and very cutthroat game at sometimes. It's you and some people trying to get to a chopper most of the time, and well, guess what? You're in it for yourself and yourself only. Killing zombies, trying to get bullets, trying to scavenge whatever you can and make it to the chopper. A all-time great classic game. They even have a bag of I think it's like 100 glow-in-the-dark miniatures zombies that you could play with. The story, the campiness of it is a B movie all the way, and it does a great job at just being that. A great board game that is just a lot of fun. Whether you get the little $19 box or the $100 mega box, you're going to love this game. And number 8 is Mansions of Madness. It's kind of tough because I kind of like the first edition. The one where it uses the app is pretty decent and stuff like this. This is just a classic, and an all-time classic at that. But it's just a game that, another one that just went through this weird transformation where now everything is back to the old, everything's, they're trying to app drive everything. And while I find it helpful, I don't think there's and I think it's a great app, don't get me wrong, there's just not enough stories for it. I would love to see them just do more and more of this, but I think they killed this off, and that's the end of that. And but it's still a great game, and a great game for Halloween, and that's Mansions of Madness at number 8. At number 7 is a game that either you love it or you don't like it. And it's plain and simple. Escape the Dark Castle. Now, they just did Escape the Dark Sector, which is a sci-fi version, but this Dark Castle version with the expansions and the ultimate box set. I think I have it here, actually, somewhere. I thought I did. Oh, yeah, there it is. It's up in the right-hand corner there. Boy, I ought to play that again for you guys, because it is just one of those games that when you put this deck together and you take your two people and you try to escape all the horror and the spiders and the creatures and the monsters, and you're trying to get out of this castle, and it's just a lot of fun. A dice chucker that is very story driven. It's never the same game. It changes up all the time. Either you're going to make it out, which is very rare, or you are going to get pummeled. It's just a matter of where you get pummeled. And number 7, Escape the Dark Castle. And number 6 is a game by Flying Frog Games, and that is Touch of Evil. You gotta have, with this one, you have to have all the expansions and everything. It really is a very story-driven game. The cards change everything up. Trying to complete and do the things that you need to do, and the beautiful boards that come with it, the expansions just make the game even better. Adding the extra boards to it make it glorious, and this is just one of those all-time classics. And if you want something that is really creepy on Halloween night, well, Touch of Evil at number 6 is a game that is for you. At number 5, now I wanted to include, there's so many versions of this, and we're talking about Zombicide, and there are so many great versions of this, but I think the one for me on Halloween that stands out is the one that I really enjoy the most, and that is Night of the Living Dead. I just think that is fantastic. It's such a great adaptation, and it just has that feel of that movie. I painted everything in black and white, a matter of fact, with different grays and stuff like that, so it reflect the movie. And I absolutely love this game. It is fun. I think by far it is one of the best Zombicide games ever made, and I really, really love it. So at number 5, Zombicide, Night of the Living Dead. At number 4, this game I painted. I had a great time painting it, because you were painting the old Universal monsters, and I was excited to paint it, and if all I ever did was paint that game, it would be fantastic. But the gameplay is great, because there are just so many different villains and things like that, and different things that you have to try to do to shut everything down, and that's Horrified. Horrified is just an all-time classic. They sell it at Target, they sell it everywhere, and a lot of times it's sold out. It is just a great game. With the, it has standees for your heroes, but the monsters are beautiful miniatures that if you paint them up, it just adds to the theme. Run around the board trying to complete the missions and get things done, and trying to survive, and the timer just kind of going on it and praying that you don't lose. But this is a game that I really consider one of my favorite horror games, and that's why it's at number 4. At number 3, Richard Launius is probably one of the most brilliant designers of all. I love everything that he does, and Arkham Horror, the original, and the editions that followed, I just think are just absolutely fantastic. I love Richard's the best. I believe it's the 2nd edition. It really just stands out with all the expansions. It is an entire, listen, if you want to play a game for the entire day of Halloween, this is the game that you want to play with all the expansions and everything else that it has. It is I've seen him run it at conventions, and you can't not just walk away from that. It is a game that, as an investigator, you become very enthralled in it. You get sucked into it, trying to close the gates, and just it's special. It's something that will always be in my collection. I have two versions. I mean, two copies of it. One I have completely sealed up with all the expansions that you can't get a hold of, and then the other I play until the cows come home. Just one of the greatest games ever made. That's all I can say. At number 2, Herman Luttman is a genius. For me, this is one of my favorite games by him, Dawn of the Zeds. And there are a few people that can, Richard Launius is one, and Herman is almost the mirror image of him. They make these games that are easy to play, but fun. And that's what it's all about. And Dawn of the Zed, not only does it give you that old movie feel, that B movie feel, and you can see a theme here. The old horror movies that you would sit up on Saturday night, this is what a lot of these games remind me of. And they really hit home for me. House on Haunted Hill, and Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Bride of Dracula, Wolfman, all these fantastic, The Mummy with Boris Karloff, which is another great one. There's just so many of them that are just there, and these games give you that feel. And Dawn of the Zed follows in that very much of a Dawn of the Living Dead feel to it. And I appreciate that, and I admire it. The thing is, the game's not complex. There are times that people try to be too smart, and you talk about these two guys. They make games that are easy, fun, enjoyable. This is an all-time classic that stands out that you should definitely try, and if you don't have it, you need to get it. My number 1 game, though, slasher films are always just a lot of fun to watch. The original Halloween, I still remember to this day. That cold October night when it came out, and we went and saw it, and we were like, our mouths just left at our ankles. And Final Girl follows in that footstep with different scenarios, different box sets, but all in all, just you get so much game in a little box. It really is something special. It's one of those games that I absolutely adore. I think it's fantastic. And each Final Girl version is different and breathes new life. And it's just a game you can never get tired of. A tip of the hat to the people at Van Ryder. They just make fantastic games, and just it's just brilliant. I love everything about it, from the board being folded up as the box. The components are beautiful. The rules easy to learn, fun, exciting, thrilling, all these things, thematic. Just a home run all around. And everything on this list, it was hard to really kind of do that. Some honorable mentions I'd like to say. Last Night on Earth, really cool zombie game. Resident Evil 2 and 3, really good. Really has that feel of the video game. Cthulhu Death May Die gets a tip of the hat, which I think is fantastic, and should could be on here. You can include Eldritch Horror, but when I thought about that, I really went with Arkham Horror because I kind of grouped those kind of together. But if I had to pick one out of that grouping of that type of gameplay, it's definitely Arkham Horror, just the way I feel. So Final Girl number 1, and there you go, folks. Another list. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. And until next time, it's your old pal Rob saying, we shall see you soon. Happy Halloween, everybody.